I'm representing little Liam and his dad, Victor, and you may have seen some media stories about this case because this is another little boy named Liam, like the little blue backpack bunny hat boy, who was detained by ICE, and the detention was videoed. And the story is that last Sunday, the day before Liam was set to start kindergarten, he and his dad, Victor, decided to go play a soccer game. And when they were out on the road, they saw a bunch of DPS cars patrolling. And they ended up getting pulled over by ICE. And the agents pulled them over, did the lights and pulled them over, and didn't even give them a pretext for the stop. They didn't even bother to do it. They just told them to roll down the windows and asked Victor if he had legal status. And he was honest with them, and he said no. And they decided to detain both him and Liam, even though Victor from the beginning wanted Liam to be released to his mother, Maria, who lives in the same city, but they never would. And instead they detained Victor with Liam. They handcuffed Victor, put them in the backseat of a car, and Victor talked about how difficult it was to console Liam and keep him calm because he was freaking out and his dad's hands were cuffed behind him the whole drive. Then they get to the detention center, or the processing center, where Victor is forced to sign paperwork that he doesn't fully understand, consenting to a deportation of both him and his son. And then they're taken to the Dilley Family Detention Center, which is notoriously difficult, hard on kids, of course, to be placed in detention. The whole way through, Victor has been asking for his son to be released to Maria. And DHS has come under a lot of heat because this detention was videoed. And they've put out a statement that is untrue. And in this statement, they claim that parents are given the opportunity to decide what happens with their children and to have them released if they want. That is not true. That's not true in this case. And it's not true in many, many other cases that I personally have worked on. And in fact, ultimately, the strategy in this case is a really hard one to accept. Victor is taking voluntary departure with his son Liam, and they are leaving this country because the alternative is to stay and fight and file for habeas, and there are other benefits that they could qualify for. But if we go down that route, there's a risk that Liam will be taken from his father and placed into unaccompanied migrant custody instead of released to his mother. That happens all the time. And Victor and his wife Maria are unwilling to take the risk that their little 5-year-old son is placed into custody all alone. And I have seen cases like this where kids get taken from their parents in custody, put into the UAC system, and then the UAC system can sometimes feel like a black hole for people. And so at the end of the day, Texas is losing a hardworking construction worker who entered on a work visa and who does construction. Liam should be in his second week of kindergarten. Maria is sleeping alone without her husband and her son and is so worried about what will happen to them. And everybody loses, except for the private prison companies that are earning more money on the detention of this family.